Hi, welcome to my video, What I Eat in a Day as a whole food plant-based vegan. This video today will show you some recipes on things that you might want to create as well, especially if you're interested in the Starch Solution lifestyle. Today is a cold and chilly but nice and sunny, blue sky, lovely day, so I'm out taking a little walk and I thought I would just film out here and show you this very cool thing they have done with the hedgerow. They've built a living hedge. In a couple of months that whole thing will be green leaves, maybe a couple of weeks, but it will all be alive and gorgeous. Here comes a train, so I'm going to have to go because this will make a big noise. Bye! So today's breakfast will be hash browns, which over in the UK is not as big of a breakfast idea as it is in other parts of the world, but I thought I'd make them from scratch because you can't buy them shredded and oil free over here. So I made it from scratch. It was absolutely amazing, worth the effort, I would say, and I think I would probably have this for lunch or dinner. Actually, it doesn't have to be a breakfast. So let me show you how I made these actually from scratch. So I started by peeling some really big white baking potatoes, just roughly peeling them. I wasn't too precious about it, and then started the grating. As you can see, my grater is quite small. So as you can see, I've made loads of grated potato because I'm going to put half, maybe more than half, in the freezer so that I don't have to do this next time. And all of the ends of the potatoes that I didn't want to grate my fingers, so those guys are just going to get steamed and probably eaten another time. So that was quite messy and quite long, but yeah, let's get cooking. So I threw some in 2 different bags and I put those in the freezer. So into a hot skillet pan, I put the potatoes, and as you can see, they're already steaming, so nice hot pan, and I seasoned it with some smoked paprika. Now, I put on my vegetables for my filling too early, so don't do it as early as I did because I put them on far too early. So with the potato, I kind of thinned it out with the spatula, and it took about 15 minutes just for one side because obviously potato takes a while to cook, and I just hadn't thought about that. So after about 15 minutes, it will be cooked enough that it's in one piece and you can flip it over like a pancake. Obviously, if your pan is nice and non-stick, that will work the best, and you don't have to use oil either. So I carried on cooking the potato and cooked my vegetables, brought them back onto the heat. That was mushrooms, courgette, which is zucchini, and I added some spinach just right at the last minute to wilt it down. So then I built my little hash brown pancake thingy. Just put all of my toppings in there. And all I've done is season that with some salts, some pepper, and a little smoked paprika is in the potato. Folded it over and cut that into half. This was for me and my son, so this was 2 portions, though I could have eaten the whole thing, to be honest. And some spring onions on the top to give it a nice crunch and a nice oniony flavour. And that was it. It was great. Really, really good. I was surprised at how much I loved it. So for lunch, I made a carrot and coriander soup. Okay, I've got those potatoes from this morning, the ends of the hash browns. I'm going to make a carrot and coriander soup. I've got fresh coriander, dry coriander. I'm going to use some stock, add a little bit of soy milk at the end. I've got some lentils for the starch, carrots, onion and garlic. So let me show you how I put this together. I don't like the look of this one. I'm going to get a new one. This one looks a bit gross. So I took 1 large white onion and I just roughly chopped that. The soup's going to get blended, so you don't need to worry about chopping it too much. And I had 1 large clove of garlic. Again, same thing, it's going to get blended, so just roughly chop it up. And that went into a pan. Probably a bigger pan would have been a good idea. Start sauteing that with a little water, and then I prepped the carrots. I didn't want to peel them, so I just washed them, scrubbed them with a vegetable brush, and chopped those into rough pieces too. Then I put these potatoes in just because I had them right there. It's optional, but it does make the soup a little bit thicker. So after about 10 minutes of sauteing your onions and garlic, add in those carrots and potato if you're using them. And then add in your stock till it just about covers the vegetables. Add in some lentils, again this gives it some nice thickness, and the seasonings, fresh and dry coriander. Bring that up to a boil and then bring it down to a simmer and leave that for around 30 minutes. Check all your vegetables are nice and soft, and then you can use your blender or your stick blender, which is what I did. Do not put really hot liquids like this into a NutriBullet. It says not to do that on the packaging. I know some blenders can take hot liquids, but the NutriBullet is not one of them. So if you're a big fan of the bullet like me, you won't be able to use this for making soup. I gave it a little taste test. And then I added in some soy milk at the end. Again, this is totally optional, and this just makes it a little bit creamier. And I added a little bit more salt. And as you can see, I've made a whole big pan because then this will do me for lunch for 2 days, maybe 3 days if I'm not sharing it. It's going to go in the freezer really well, so you can obviously freeze portions and just keep it in your fridge for the next day or the day after. Really creamy and hearty and delicious carrot and coriander soup. So for dinner, I made jackfruit fishless cakes. We'll start by draining the jackfruit. This is a 400 gram tin, which is the kind of standard UK size. So you want to drain it, season it with smoked paprika, black pepper, and then it will take about 5 to 10 minutes to chop up the jackfruit into little tiny pieces. It is quite firm in texture if you've never tried it before. It's a really interesting texture, and it's a great meat substitute because of its really meaty, strong texture. It really holds together, so it's perfect for these little fishless cakes. As you can see, it really has kind of got the texture of fish. So yeah, it takes a little while to chop it into tiny pieces. I guess you could leave it in bigger pieces, but I spend about 10 minutes just chopping it all up so that it's nice little tiny pieces. So then it kind of looks like this. To the jackfruit, you want to add your Dijon mustard and ketchup, some dill, fresh or dry is fine, and a load of parsley. Again, if you've only got dry, that's fine, that will work just as well. I used about 3 tablespoons of fresh parsley, but all of the quantities are down in the description, so you can go and check them out there. Then taking a lemon, just zest it lightly. Don't go too far into the white. The white pithy part of the lemon will make it a bit bitter. So lightly zest your lemon. Try and find one that's not waxed, that's more natural, and then you can just give all of this a good combine. Again, spend a few minutes just so that everything is all covered and all of the pieces are seasoned. Then to make your own breadcrumbs, this is my lazy way of doing it. I know you can buy them or you can make them in a more fancy way, but all I do is toast some bread and I put it in my NutriBullet with some nutritional yeast, a couple of tablespoons, some more black pepper because I am addicted, and you just quickly pulse it. Don't leave it going too long because it will turn into an absolute dust. Just a quick couple of seconds and then you will know you've got the breadcrumbs. I think I might have even done it a little bit too long there really, but I will show you the texture now. It's very, very fast, the bullet. So you've got some little breadcrumbs and you're ready to make the fish cakes. So mashed potato already made. Again, if you want to know how I make my mashed potatoes super fast, I've got a video that shows how I make those, and I'll link that at the end of this video. But I take the mashed potato and I mix that now into the jackfruit as well. And then it's time to build them. So this quantity makes either 6 or 8 patties. It doesn't really matter what size you make them, it's kind of your preference. But I kind of like to make 6 fairly decent sized ones. And that seems to be the right amount of breadcrumbs using 2 slices of bread as well. So you just do this by moulding them, squeeze them quite hard together to really compact it, and then just literally put it onto your breadcrumbs and they'll all stick because the mashed potato is quite wet. If it isn't wet enough to make the breadcrumbs stick, then you can just use a little bit of plant milk and brush that onto each side, and then the breadcrumbs will definitely stick to your fish cake. It kind of does depend a bit on what your mashed potatoes are like. Sometimes mashed potatoes are quite wet, sometimes they're a bit more dry. It depends on the variety of the potato and how long it's been cooked. So you can just use some plant milk. But yeah, you just rinse and repeat that till you've got your little fishless cakes all made. And you can grill or oven them. So I just oven mine because then I don't have to worry about them burning. And I literally put them in the oven for 15 minutes on each side, maybe 20 minutes actually, depends how crispy you like them. But that's it, pretty simple, and it is delicious. If you want to make a big batch of these, I would freeze them after you've put the breadcrumbs in and before they're going to be cooked again. And that way, when you take them out of your freezer, they're going to be defrosted and just ready to go straight into the oven.